All right, now remember where we left off. Centipede chewed on the stem. The peach started rolling, went through the town, crashing through things, flew off this giant cliff into the ocean, and started to float. So now we have James and these gigantic insects floating in the ocean. Chapter 17. At this moment, the scene inside the peach itself was one of indescribable chaos, meaning it was so chaotic, and I'm using chaos again, but so messy and confusing, and you couldn't even tell and describe how jumbled and messy everything was. They didn't know where they were or what was going on. James Henry Trotter was lying bruised and battered on the floor of the room amongst the tangled mass of centipede and earthworm and spider and ladybug and glowworm and old green grasshopper. In the whole history of the world, no travelers had ever had a more terrible journey than these unfortunate creatures. It had started out well, with much laughing and shouting, and for the first few seconds, as the peach had begun to roll slowly forward, nobody had minded being tumbled about a little bit, and then it went bump, and the centipede had shouted, "That was Aunt Sponge!" and then bump again, and said, "And that was Aunt Spiker!" There had been a tremendous burst of cheering all around. But as soon as the peach rolled out of the garden and began to go down the steep hill, rushing and plunging and bounding madly downward, then the whole thing became a nightmare. James found himself being flung up against the ceiling, then back onto the floor, then sideways against the wall, then up on the ceiling again, and up and down and back and forth and round, and at the same time all the other creatures were flying through the air in every direction, and so were the chairs and the sofa, not to mention the 42 boots belonging to the centipede. So just imagine right now, at the beginning, they're like, oh, this is kind of fun. And then it's going so much and crazy, things are flying, that the fun kind of stopped. And now they're all a bit scared and flying and a little bit dangerous. Everything and all of them were being rattled around like peas inside an enormous rattle that was being rattled by a mad giant who refused to stop. To make it worse, something went wrong with the glowworm's lighting system, and the room was in pitchy darkness. There were screams and yells and curses and cries of pain, and everything kept going round and round, and once James made a frantic grab at some thick bars sticking out from the wall, only to find that they were a couple of centipede's legs. "Let go, you idiot!" shouted the centipede, kicking himself free, and James was promptly flung across the room into the old green grasshopper's horny lap. Twice he got tangled up in Miss Spider's legs, a horrid business. Maybe because the spider's legs are hairy and sticky. And toward the end, the poor earthworm, who was cracking himself like a whip, whoosh, whoosh, every time he flung through the air from one side of the room to the other, coiled himself around James's body in a panic and refused to unwind. So the earthworm spiraled around James, squeezing James. They're all a bit going nuts right now. Oh, it was a frantic and terrible trip, but it was all over now, and the room was suddenly very still and quiet. Everybody was beginning slowly and painfully to disentangle himself from everybody else. Disentangle. So if you're tangled up like some string and you got to unknot it and figure it out, you're disentangle means to untangle yourself. Let's have some light, shouted the centipede. Yes, they cried. Light, give us some light. Oh, I'm trying, answered the poor glowworm. I'm doing my best. Please be patient. They all waited in silence. Then, psh, 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 a faint greenish light began to glimmer out of the glowworm's tail, and this gradually became stronger and stronger and stronger until it was enough to see by. Ooh, nice and light. Some great journey, the centipede said, limping across the room. So it was all neat and nice and tidy, and they were just, and there's all the boots. Everybody looks a little bit dizzy and messed up. Oh, I shall never be the same again, murmured the earthworm. Nor I, the bug said. It's taken years off my life. Oh, but dear friends, Grasshopper trying to be cheerful, we are there. Where? Where are there? I don't know, the old green grasshopper said, but I'll bet it's somewhere good. Oh, we probably at the bottom of a coal mine, the earthworm said gloomily. Oh, we certainly went down and down and down very suddenly at the last moment. I felt it in my stomach. I still feel it. Ah, perhaps we are in the middle of a beautiful country full of songs and music. Or, or near the seashore, said James eagerly, with lots of other children down on the sand for me to play with. Oh, pardon me, murmured the ladybug, turning a trifle pale. But am I wrong in thinking that we seem to be bobbing up and down? Bobbing up and down? They cried. What on earth do you mean? Oh, you're still giddy from the journey, said the green grasshopper. The green grasshopper told her. You'll get over it in a minute. Is everybody all ready to go upstairs now and take a look around? Yes, yes, they chorused. Come on, let's go. Ugh, I refuse to show myself out of the doors in my bare feet, said the centipede. I have to get my boots on again first. Oh, for heaven's sake, let's not go through all that nonsense again, said the earthworm. Oh, let's all lend the centipede a hand and get it over with, said the ladybug. Come on. So they did, all except Miss Spider, who set about weaving a long rope ladder that would reach from the floor to the hole in the ceiling. The old green grasshopper had wisely said that they must not risk going out of the side entrance when they didn't know where they were, but must first of all go up on the top of the peach and have a look around. So half an hour later, when the rope ladder had been finished and hung and the 42nd boot had been placed neatly on the centipede's 42nd foot, they were all ready to go out. Amidst mounting excitement and shouts of, Here we go, boys, the promised land. I can't wait to see it. The whole company climbed up the ladder one by one and disappeared into the dark, soggy tunnel in the ceiling that went steeply, almost vertically upward. So I'm going to go back to the page where we can see the peach. Okay, here's the peach. So they're inside it in the middle, and Miss Spider made a ladder that went up to the top. So they dug a hole, and the ladder goes up. So wherever they are, they're going to be up here on the top, and they can look out. So that's chapter 17. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you later for chapter 18.